You're currently listening to Crayfish in Brazil, and with me always is my good friend Space. This is episode 2 of the cartoon tier list ranking. In the last episode, we went through all of the shows that start with the letter A and have 0 votes. Now time for the ones that have 0 votes and start with the letter B. The first one that we have is Babar, and put it in eh.
Now, Babar, or Babar, if you're feeling like Brazil here, is, I think, pretty alright as like a cartoon for 5-year-olds, aside from like the sort of English colonial lean to it, being a show about, British elephants taking place within India. I have some nostalgia for Babar. I watched it as like a little toddler, and I thought it was pretty alright then. And I think compared to a lot of shows for 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, it's not that bad. It's just, maybe not that good either, now that standards have kind of improved over time. You have the big boys. This isn't even like the best kids show that starts with the letter B anymore. Thanks, Bluey.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was alright. It was kind of slow, but, for a preschool show, you could definitely do worse. It had a nice little story going on into it. Next, we have Baby Looney Tunes, another preschool show that starts with the letter B, and this one, it's pretty bad.
I think pretty bad is even pretty generous for this one, as this one, I think, has the rare distinction of, like, even as a child, before I kind of had the ability to differentiate good cartoons from shit cartoons, I hated this one. I was firmly a Cartoon Network kid, but I remember this being, like, one of the only shows that sucked bad enough to motivate me to change the channel to Nickelodeon whenever it aired. I hate this one. I hate the trend of, oh, what if they were babies? That this one is firmly a part of. There's nothing good about this show, I guess, but it's also not one of the worst shows we've seen somehow.
Yeah, what if it's Looney Tunes but they're babies? That is the show. It is extremely boring, even for like a show made for babies. There's nothing to it.
There are shows like this that I think Warner Brothers has put out over the years that firmly demonstrates they do not understand the appeal of the Looney Tunes. Listen, I do not give a fuck about seeing Tweety Bird or Sylvester unless they're dropping anvils on each other's heads and trying to blow them up. I don't want to watch the Looney Tunes in daycare. Nobody wants to watch that.
Next we got Back at the Barnyard, and I put it in A tier. This one it's a little insane. It was based off of the movie Barnyard. This is its show Back at the Barnyard, is a sequel spin-off show, but I can just tell that the writers just went absolutely nuts with this show. They didn't care what they made the plot. It was just anything they thought of, and it's just overall a good time. It's got a lot of good gags in it, just a absolutely nuts show.
The show is pure insanity. I think one of the most entertaining things about it are a lot of the behind-the-scenes stories having to deal with it, including the show's cancellation. What are you gonna do? Cancel us harder? You should definitely look into that and go down that rabbit hole if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about. There is a very famous interview with, I think, Rob Paulson and a few of the other people who are involved with the show about some of the behind-the-scenes of what was going on in that show's being made. But yeah, they were given a license and kind of didn't know what to do with it, so they just, went crazy and did whatever they wanted. I think succeeded in making an absolute, fever dream of a show, even if, objectively, I don't think we can put it higher on this tier list than just because I'd say that this is the definition of a mixed bag.
Yeah, not everything from it holds up, I would say, but with just how insane, how crazy it is, how fun it is, it evens out into this tier. It is a perfect example of an A tier show. Next we got Back to the Future, the animated series, and I put this in pretty good. It was surprising because most 90s cartoons based off of a movie don't hold up that well. They just kind of feel like a cash grab, not that interesting to me. But this one, it held my attention. It had a nice first episode, I thought.
Yeah, and even nicer is the fact that they actually got Christopher Lloyd to play Doc Brown in the cartoon. Most shows would have just cheaped out and gotten somebody else to voice him instead of hiring the actor, like, a lot of the Ghostbusters cartoons or a lot of shows of the era did. This is actually a nice surprise. I remember the episode we watched had a few funny jokes in it. There's like a nice little live action segment. Bill Nye is in there. And it was also insane because the episode we watched involved them going back in time to the Civil War, which is not a topic I think a lot of cartoons would touch.
I thought it was great. They got the live action segment with Christopher Lloyd at the beginning, as if it were the Mr. T show.
Pull up the Mr. T show.
Have you ever been accused of doing something you didn't do? Well, it happened to me in Mexico City, and I got thrown in jail for it. You want to know who the real crook was? Keep watching, and you'll find out. It's all part of the case called The Dilemma of the Double-Edged Dagger.
There, I just played it. I just played the Mr. T clip.
Yeah.
And another thing is, it has Doc Brown's children in it. Now, I'm a fan of the original Back to the Future movie and the second Back to the Future movie, but not the third one. I only saw the third one once, like 10 years ago, and hardly remembered anything from it. And I completely forgot that Doc Brown does canonically have children at the end of the third movie, and then they show up in this series as major characters. His kids have third and fourth billing in this show, and I was like, who are the... Oh yeah, that's right. Doc Brown does actually canonically have children. So I'm glad they actually used that in this show. They kept up the continuity.
This show is effectively a sequel series to the Back to the Future movie trilogy, which is kind of wild when you think about it.
Now, at this point in the tier list, I didn't actually put this show in the tier list, but this is where it would go in the order I'm doing it, is the Baku series on YouTube by Sethical. And I can't put that as a cartoon on here because really it's just P&Gs talking, but it is hilarious and I absolutely recommend it to anybody.
I think that the Baku series is one of the top shows if we were to make a tier list purely about the rotation of lines from things that we like that we quote to each other on a regular basis.
It is, I quote the Baku series probably more than anything on this tier list. Every single line is golden.
Get the fuck out the bank. I'm about to blast off. He think he on Team Rocket. You rolling and you on loud. You rolling loud. Clean. Man, I can never win.
Yeah, I think this is the definition of a show that is carried by its writing, although I think that the shittiness of the presentation is also definitely a part of the appeal.
It adds to its charm, for sure. And I would add it, but I gotta draw the line somewhere, you know. Now we've got Ball Masters 9009, and I put this in pretty good. I was kind of surprised, but, you know, it's the same creator that made Super Jail, and like Super Jail, you know, the animation is good, even if I'm not that big of a fan of the art style. The writing, it's not bad. It held my attention. I thought it was a nice first episode. I could see how it appeals to people.
I am a certified Ball Masters fan. I really enjoy this show. Of course, naturally, you've got the same artist as Super Jail behind the whole thing, so the animation is stellar. It looks a lot like Super Jail, but it's also kind of like a throwback to the insanity of a lot of 80s anime. And unlike, I think, most Western cartoons that try to dip a toe in parodying or riffing off anime, I think this one actually does a good job at doing it in a funny way, where it feels sort of reverent instead of just shitting on it the whole time. I like this show. The show's good.
Now we have Batman Spider-Man, and this is the first fantastic tier show on this list. For those unfamiliar, this is a YouTube web series. It might have been Newgrounds first, actually, but it's just made by this couple, Alex and Lindsay Small-Butera, and they are very good animators, and they just made this little shitpost of a show, and at first glance, it just looks really simple and juvenile about these two characters that are Batman and Spider-Man, except it has absolutely nothing to do with Batman or Spider-Man, and their names are changed to be legally distinct, and they're both overweight, but the animation is very smooth in the way they move, and the story builds up over time, and they keep building up this continuity and adding new characters to create these wacky, absurdist stories in this like white void of a world space that they live in.
Yep.
It's extremely charming, and I love it to death.
Would you believe me if I told you that this show has genuine emotional stakes in it by the end? I first watched this show on Nintendo Video on the Nintendo 3DS back when that was a thing, and it got its hooks in me. I watched this as like a relatively small child, but it stuck with me in the entire like decade plus it's been since I've watched it. It's a really good show, and I think like the definition of a hidden gem. Do yourself a favor and go out and watch this like immediately. It is required reading for this tier list.
It is a short watch. The episodes overall are pretty short. You could probably binge watch the entire thing in a single day. And I actually don't have that much nostalgia for it, as I didn't watch this until I was in college. That was the first time I started watching this, and yet I still loved it anyway. And actually, the creators of the show, the Small-Buteras, for the longest time, they did not have the rights to this show. That was the Mondo channel on YouTube had the rights to it, and for a while they couldn't make any episodes of it because it was in distribution hell. But just recently, 2 months ago, they got the license back, and they have since re-uploaded all of the episodes and promo content for this show on their own YouTube channel, and they plan on making a finale for it, which I am very excited for. Alright, now back to talking about bad shows. We've got Banana Man, which I put in pretty bad. This show is like, it's about a kid who eats a banana and turns into a superhero, and he has a sidekick talking crow. When he eats the banana, it's like a body horror animation. I do not like the way he turns into the superhero in every episode. It's very off-putting, and the rest of the animation is really static and choppy and cheap looking. The episodes are very short, like 5 minutes long. I don't even know why this show exists, but it is not an enjoyable experience to look at it with your eyeballs.
I don't have that much positive to say about Banana Man. In fact, I don't think I have anything positive to say. I don't have that much to say about Banana Man, period, other than that I think in going through this tier list, I've definitely realized a trend where it is very rare that British cartoons have landed with us. So I think keep that in mind as we continue reviewing these shows.
Yeah, just go listen to the song Banana Man by Tally Hall instead. Now we got Barney's World. It's not very good. It's a modern CG Barney show, and it's very boring. I think that the art style is very clean in a like sanitized corporate way. I know it's a preschool show, but something looks off about it. I don't know. I just don't like how anything looks. It didn't hold my attention, but you know, I mean, I'm an adult man. This is a preschooler show, but I wouldn't put it on. I wouldn't enjoy it if my preschooler was watching this in the same room as me.
Yeah. I think just in a word to describe this thing's art style, it is just the epitome of direct-to-streaming service children's show. And I mean that in as derogatory as a manner as it can possibly be taken. It's not good to look at. It's not good to listen to. I think you would be better off handing your child a tablet with nothing but CoComelon loaded onto it. I think it's similarly damaging to their development to have them watch the show.
I don't know if I would go that far, but well said about this being just direct to streaming slop. Now we got Bat Wheels. I didn't think this was very good either. I mean, it's great to look at. The animation, the art style are very slick, Unfortunately, it's wasted on this show, which, from a writing perspective, isn't very interesting.
The show is conceptually stupid, too. I don't know who thought that, oh, Batman's not interesting enough for little children. You know what they will care about? His car. Although, I say this from the perspective of a child who was very, very into DC shit as a kid. I pretty much grew up on The Batman and BTAS, and I can still say pretty firmly that I think if you'd shown me this as like a little child who is actually of the age that this is targeted towards, I would not have liked it. There's no Batman in it.
Well, we only watched one episode, but yeah, there was no Batman in it. I don't think there was any like Batman characters in it other than their cars who can talk now for some reason. Looks great, but if you turn on the volume, it goes down a lot. Now we got Baymax. This was, I thought that Baymax was actually pretty good, surprisingly enough. I was not expecting just a spin-off show of Big Hero 6 of all things to be interesting at all. Just here's the the cute mascot character from Big Hero 6. We're just gonna give him his own little series consisting of like 8-minute long short films with a different character in each one that he interacts with. But that first episode, that was good. That was some good television right there.
Yeah, this is Pixar actually tried with this one.
This one's not
you don't
Pixar.
See that too often.
It's just Disney. No Pixar involved here.
Yeah, Disney actually tried with this one. There was effort put into it. Be sure to edit out my embarrassing fumble. And I mean, like, it's better than a lot of their shorts.
Yeah, and animation was good. Writing was really good. The episode with the old woman and the swimming pool, that was a nice episode. I liked it. Be Cool Scooby-Doo. I thought this one wasn't very good. It's another, Scooby-Doo show with the same characters that everybody knows of, but it's a more, I don't know how to put this, like trying to be more of a comedy, but not all of the jokes are good.
I think one thing that definitely holds it down, aside from just being a comedy that is not very funny, is that it has a very, like, I'd say Brickleberry adjacent art style that I don't think does it any favors. I mean, Fred is out here looking like he could fucking shovel dirt with his chin. Everybody looks like they could be a Family Guy background character. It's just not a very good-looking show, and I think that doesn't do it any favors either.
To me, Daphne looks the most off out of the main five. Just something about her gives off that, that Brickleberry-esque art style. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's equally not helped out by the fact that it is one of a literally uncountable number of Scooby-Doo shows that we've had to go through in this list, and it is not one of the better ones. It's not one of the worst ones either, but
yeah, it had a few solid gags that made me smile, I will not lie. I think Scooby and Shaggy, their writing was done all right. They had a few good, solid gags. Most of the good gags came from them. Now we got The Beatles Show from the 60s. Guess where it goes. It's not very good.
This one is objectively bad, but it is delicious garbage. There are so many uncanny things about this show. How janky the animation is, how just weird the line deliveries are, how many animation errors occur within a given episode, that it kind of wraps around from being horrible into hilarious. But yeah, no, it belongs in not very good. It is not a very good show, but it is ironically enjoyable, so it does have that accolade going for it at least.
Yeah, none of the original members of the Beatles had anything to do with this show, other than once an episode it plays a recording of one of their songs that the actual band did. Also, the characters, they're drawn in such a way where, to me, I'm not a huge Beatles fan, but they all look interchangeable with one another. I could not tell any one of them apart. But then you have Ringo, who just looks like an ugly caricature drawn by a carny.
Well said.
Now, with 0 votes, we have Ben 10 Alien Force. Now, I thought it was pretty good, but I think it's very funny that all the other Ben 10 shows got at least 1 vote. Yes, including the reboot from 2016, but Ben 10 Alien Force got 0 votes for some reason.
As a kid, I mostly watched the original show, but it still had my interest by the time it, came back around and Alien Force started. So this is one of the only 2 Ben 10s I, watched when I was the Ben 10 watching age. I expected this one to do better. It didn't get a single vote. That's very surprising to me. It's good. It's not the best Ben 10 show, but I mean, the reboot exists, so it's not the worst either. You like Ben 10, I figure you'd like this show. I don't know if it's like maybe the black sheep among the fandom. I'm not really plugged in on the Ben 10 discourse. Yeah, no, it's good. It's surprising the show got 0 votes. I have nothing else to say about it.
I mean, originally, I was just going to count Ben 10 Alien Force, and Ben 10 Ultimate Alien as one show on this tier list, but then people voted for them separately in the polls. Like Ben 10, the original, and Ultimate Alien were 2 different shows on the tier list voted by people, so I might as well include Alien Force. Unfortunately, nobody voted for it, so here you go. I thought it was pretty good, as it's, it's a Ben 10 show, It's not bad. I never watched the entire thing at any point. Just a few episodes here and there, and then, the 1 episode on the rewatch. Next is the Berenstain Bears. This one, I thought it was not very good. Just kind of a boring, early 2000s show for younger audiences during that early 2000s, late 90s craze of like bear-themed cartoons for young children, up there with Paddington and Adventures of the Gummy Bears, among others.
I don't really have anything to say about the Berenstain Bears. I mean, I remember reading the children's book as like a toddler. I think I vaguely remember seeing an episode or 2 of this show, but it's nothing special, really. It's not bad either. It just is what it is.
The most interesting thing about it is probably the big Mandela effect conspiracy around it, where everybody remembered it as the Berenstain Bears with an E instead of an A. It's probably just a memory thing. I mean, I haven't watched the show or read any of the books since I was, 5 or 6 years old, so I don't remember hardly anything from when I was 5 or 6 years old, let alone the title of the Berenstain Bears, so who am I to say if it's some kind of alternate universe timeline switcheroo conspiracy or anything like that. Now with 0 votes, we got Beware the Batman, and I thought it was pretty good. This is maybe the most nobody talks about this show among the other Batman animated shows, but I thought it was good. It introduced Batman at the beginning in a nice little scene with him and a criminal that he's battling. It was a nice episode with Professor Pig as the villain and his toad henchman. And overall, it was just a nice little episode of a comic book superhero show.
Yeah. I think that it's definitely held back a little by the CG animation and it being spotty in a few places, but it doesn't have a bad art style, and I think that its commitment to playing around with lesser-known Batman villains is pretty admirable, even if, in practice, a lot of them just end up being reskins of more popular Batman villains. I mean, you've got Magpie, who's just Catwoman, you've got Anarchy, who's just the Joker, but overall, it's not a bad Batman show. It just has the misfortune of being kind of graded against other really prestigious shows, like, Batman the Animated Series, and to a lesser degree, The Batman and Brave and the Bold. But no, in its own right, this show's pretty good. Also, not that great looking.
Yeah, the art style could have been better. Now we have The Big Les Show, and I didn't care for it that much. It's an independent YouTube animated series, so very amateur art style. I do know people who enjoy the show, but I was not a big fan of this one.
Yeah, it's made by the same creator as Sassy the Sasquatch, which I've only seen the 1 episode of this show, but I will say that I enjoyed Sassy the Sasquatch a lot more than Big Les Show. This one just wasn't as funny to me. I don't think it made me laugh. It didn't really grab me in the same way. It just,
Yeah, I didn't laugh once while watching. I think I watched through most of the season 2 of The Big Les Show. And Sassy the Sasquatch, he does originate from The Big Les Show. Sassy is a spin-off later on. But I think in that one, I liked that one a lot more, the Sassy the Sasquatch show. I think he's definitely improved over time as a writer and artist. But that's not until later. For now, it's The Big Les Show, and I didn't really like The Big Les Show. Big Nate. This one is pretty bad, actually. I think that it has a great-looking art style and animation, but it's wasted on a show with writing that it did not make me laugh once. In fact, did the opposite. I was not having a good time while watching this show. Made for younger audiences, more juvenile audience, a lot of gross-out jokes, and I don't go for that. So I was cringing pretty hard at Big Nate, the animated series on Paramount Plus.
I think hearing that it's from Paramount Plus is kind of the only thing you need to hear. Those people cranked out the Halo show.
Next up with 0 votes, we have Big Top Burger. This is another indie animated show from Worthy Kids. Absolute legend in the indie animated scene. At least, I think with Big Top Burger, he really achieved that status. I love this show. Right now, there's 3 seasons of it. Right now, the 3rd season is being made, but every single second of this show is a delight. I love its sense of humor. I love the animation style. I love the characters in it. It's just it's a really fun watch about this group of clown-themed food truck workers, and also their rivals, the zombie-themed food truck workers.
Yeah, I'm surprised this one got 0 votes. It's pretty popular. I guess people just weren't sure that it was eligible for the poll, but it was. I'm shocked to see it get 0 votes.
Oh, you would pull some horse piss like this.
God damn it!
I'll get you for this, Steve!
It's a good time. It's very funny. Worthy Kids is a great animator and a great musician. It's also still ongoing.
It's pretty short, too. It's another one that you could watch in a whole day. You could check it out. Also, this is maybe a coincidence, but the Small-Buteras are also in it as voice actors, the creators of Batman Spider-Man.
Yeah, this show is actually secretly Small-Butera propaganda.
Yeah. Now we have the Biker Mice from Mars, and I put it in not very good. This is a late 80s, early 90s show about these anthropomorphic biker mice from Mars. And you can really tell that they're just trying to ride the coattails of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, this is one of those shows that kind of came out in the wake of the original Ninja Turtles that was very clearly inspired by it and trying to capture lightning in a bottle. I know some people have nostalgia for it, but to those people, I say, I'm sorry you grew up with this instead of Ninja Turtles. It wasn't right for the creators of Biker Mice from Mars to do that to you, and you should have had a better childhood show.
Next is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. And unfortunately, I had also put this in not very good. I think it's better than Biker Mice from Mars, but not by much. It's pretty slow. It's of course based off of the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, of them going on time-traveling shenanigans in each episode. And it's got a few gags, but overall, not very good.
Real shame that this is one of the worst spin-offs of a movie to be adapted to an animated cartoon, as I find Bill and Ted to be pretty funny. The show is nothing special. You could absolutely skip it.
Yeah, I know that every now and then, I'll see a clip uploaded to the internet of this show, of a gag that somebody found funny, but that's just a gag taken out of context. You ever sat down and watched an entire episode of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures? It's a lot more tedious than, just seeing that one clip. I think there's a lot of shows like that, where they're good in just little bite-sized clips that you see, but you watch an entire episode of it, and it's not that great. This show is called Billy Dilly's Super Duper Subterranean Summer, and it's pretty bad. It's really ugly looking, I hate the art style. This one came out in that very weird period on Disney in like the late 2010s, and it's got that sense of humor about it. I'm not gonna say gross out humor, but just weird humor, the kind that somebody finds funny. Like I guess like some children might find it funny, but there's really no real substance to it. A kid and his two acquaintances get trapped underground in the center of the earth, and they're stuck there. And I didn't laugh at a single joke. In fact, I thought it was the opposite of funny, so that's why it's down here so low. And I think the art style is really ugly. So Big Nate's got a one-up on him in that situation too. See, Bird Girl. I didn't think Bird Girl was very good. It's a continuation of the Harvey Birdman show, but with his daughter, like a legal office setting. And you know, she's a bird girl boss. What can you say?
I feel like a broken record saying this, but there's not a lot to say about Bird Girl. It's just in every way, I think, a lesser reboot of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, which is already, unfortunately, a show that did not fare that well in this tier list, although we'll get to it later.
Next, we have Black Dynamite, and I'm putting this one in good. I thought that this show was hilarious. I have seen a few episodes of Black Dynamite, and all of the ones I've seen were really funny. Very absurd, very silly, very over the top about a Black Dynamite, like a vigilante or crime fighter, but he runs the Whorphanage. That's a whorehouse/orphanage.
Yeah, Black Dynamite is a great show. And it's also like the Back to the Future show, where they actually got the voice actor of Black Dynamite from the Black Dynamite movie to voice the main character. In fact, I'm pretty sure Michael J. White had like a lot to do with the actual writing of this show. And the writing is great. It feels a lot like a sister show to Boondocks in a lot of ways, where it takes the initial cast and characters from the Black Dynamite movie and kind of dials the absurdity up to 11. It's a very good watch. Of all the episodes I've seen, there's always been at least one really good joke every episode.
And my first thought when watching the first episode, the one with Michael Jackson in it, was this show feels like something that would be playing on the TV in an episode of the Boondocks. And I think it's really funny. It's a great show. Now we've got Blaster's Universe. This is one that I watched. Oh, by the way, it's not very good. Yeah, I watched it, and I had like no recollection of it when going through this. It wasn't even that long ago when I last watched it, like a few months ago, but that's just how forgettable it was. When you first see it, both me and Space thought, does this have anything to do with that show Cyber Chase? Because it looks the same. It's got that sci-fi. They look like characters off of a kids menu from the early 2000s and make an animated series of it in a sci-fi fantasy setting. I didn't think it was particularly interesting, and now I'm going to move on to the next show. And that would be Blaze and the Monster Machines. And pretty bad. It's a preschool show about talking monster trucks. It's trying to do a Cars Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, this is sort of one of many shows in the sort of blight unleashed by Disney and Pixar in the aftermath of the Cars movie, where it became like very much a recurring thing to see these animated talking car shows made for 6-year-olds. There's not a lot of them that are good. In fact, I think there is maybe one that is good, and we're gonna get to that when we hit the C's. But
oh no,
yeah,
that's in the G's actually.
Oh,
but we'll get to it.
The damage done by Cars and its aftermath to the human race is incalculable.
Why can't kids do the sane thing, which is just watch the movie Cars over and over again instead of watching one of these shows? Now we've got Blue's Clues, which has 0 votes, as you know, if you saw the first episode. Kind of surprising, but also not that surprising, because I'm like, whose favorite show, or in their top 5 even, is Blue's Clues? But it's you know? I mean, it's Blue's Clues.
It is like Blue's Clues. Like, there's not a lot happening here. For what it's worth, I think that because there's not that much to say about it, it's pretty good as far as like preschool shows go.
It's just a charming preschool show. Very simple,
think
but it pays off.
I think that watching it as an adult, one of the only things that really stands out about it is how funny the live action segments are. The host of Blue's Clues is genuinely fucking hilarious to watch as an adult. Jamie, pull up the clip.
Did you see Blue?
Right there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's great physical comedy, just seeing him like move in place with the green screen behind him, and also just the way he acts to the camera, his line delivery. Is a great host. Like the host is what makes the show worth watching. Next is Blue's Clues and You. This is the modern remake of Blue's Clues. And I also put it in I don't like how they made Blue like CG. I think the original had more charm to it. I like the original host better, but it's still Blue's Clues. You know, in fact, the first episode of this one is just a remake of the first episode of the original Blue's Clues. So seeing them back to back, it's like, oh, the exact same plot of the same episode that we just saw, but with this new guy. But overall, I'd still put it in the same tier, even if I thought the original one was, you know, more charming. It's still Blue's Clues.
I have nothing to add. It's Blue's Clues.
Now we have Bob the Builder, the original one, that is. I didn't like it that much. I know it's a preschool show, and it's a talking vehicle show that predates Cars, but it wasn't very interesting to me. Maybe I would have liked it if I were 3 years old, and if I did have a 3-year-old that was watching it on the TV, I wouldn't bat an eye, because it's just a normal 3-year-old show. But as far as 3-year-old shows go, it's not great. Could have been worse, could have been better. Another thing I have to say about it is I did not remember this, but apparently there is a sentient talking scarecrow character, and his whole deal is just that he's a complete nuisance to everyone around him. And I guess it's not that out of the ordinary when you have like talking vehicles with faces to have a talking scarecrow, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I also watched a fair bit of Bob the Builder as like a preschooler when I was like the target demographic age for it. I didn't remember that there was a talking scarecrow in this show. I think it's a Mandela effect thing. I don't think he was real until we went back to watch it again.
Next we got Bobby's World. I didn't think it was very good, but this one has a lot of like ironically funny moments in it. The second you pull up the first episode, the first thing you see is Howie Mandel, and the first words, just like live action Howie Mandel in like a cartoon background, and it's very bizarre looking, and the first thing he says to you is, "Hi, I'm Howie Mandel. Don't you guys just hate it whenever somebody flicks you like right in the eyeball?" And that has nothing to do with the entire rest of the episode. Like, what are you talking about, Howie Mandel?
Hi everyone, I'm Howie. Welcome to Bobby's World. And you know what I really hate? Of course you don't, because you don't know me. You know what I hate? I know you hate this too. When somebody like flicks you like that, right in the eyeball.
This show, yeah, it's another one of those that is unexceptional in every way, but completely carried and elevated in its placement on this tier list by funny, goofy, live-action shit that has no reason to be in the rest of the show.
It does have a few gags in there. It's almost like a child-friendly Family Guy if it were from Stewie's perspective, and you know it was an actual like kid and not Stewie Griffin, in the sense that it's just this kid's perspective. He has a very hyperactive imagination. He imagines, you know, like his toys coming to life and talking to him or whatever, stuff like that. Like he's on a secret mission when in reality he's just going to his aunt's house or something like that. So it has a lot of like cutaway gags, but some of the bits in there are funny that children probably would have no idea what the punchline was, but I would get them.
Your mission, Bobby, should you accept it, is to scale the counter and get the cookies. This is Wayne Newton. He has nothing to do with this mission.
But the rest of it I didn't find very funny, and that's the reason why it's in not very good. Now we have Bonkers, and I'd put this in pretty good. It's a fairly old show about this like cartoon character who is a police officer, but he has a partner policewoman who acts as sort of the straight man character to this like wacky cartoon guy, and I thought it was a great idea, a great premise for a show. It reminds me a bit of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, with you got this wacky cartoon character protagonist and then a more grounded human companion character to keep that dynamic between them. And it was not bad. It was pretty good. Boss Baby Back in Business. This one was pretty bad. It's, of course, a spin-off TV series of the Boss Baby DreamWorks movie, of the characters from that movie doing Boss Baby shenanigans. And I don't like any of the characters. I don't like any of the jokes. I thought it was just a very obnoxious kids show to watch.
Yeah. It also, unfortunately, is not the only Boss Baby cartoon. And of the two, this is the worst Boss Baby cartoon, which I think tells you everything you need to know about its quality.
Well, I don't know. See, I think that it's expected for a Boss Baby show to be this bad. The other one was surprisingly better, I would say. It still wasn't great, but I just think, this one was what you would expect from a like straight to streaming Boss Baby TV spin-off series. Next is The Brady Kids, and I also put this one in pretty bad. I have this Google Sheets with all of the list of shows and where I ranked them and whatnot, and some of them I have like a little note beside them with any comments I have. And for Brady Kids, I only have one word written beside it, and it just says nightmare. I think you can agree with me on that one, Space, right?
Yeah. This show is fucking interesting is one word for it, but it so far diverges in some ways from what you would expect a show about, like, the Brady Bunch to be about. There is a talking magic wizard bird who joins the ranks, and because it's a show from the era that it is from, like firmly in like the Hanna-Barbera era of the 70s, it jumps the shark immediately. They get stranded on a fucking desert island. There's like magic is real. I'm pretty sure all sorts of other crazy shit happens in just the first episode. It is wild and kind of insane that it exists. Definitely a time capsule of the period in which it's from. I don't have that much else to say about the Brady Kids other than that it is a nightmare.
Yeah, like the animation, just the way that the show, the way things move around, watching it, I couldn't believe what I was looking. It gave me a headache. This show gave me a headache watching it. Now we have Brain Dump, and I put this one in good. Believe it or not, this is a show by Max G from Newgrounds and YouTube, indie animator. And originally, this started out just as a little movie review series with his, little animated persona character on the screen talking about movies that he had recently seen. And there's like a cartoon ghost sidekick and a non-speaking television set that's also a character. But over time, it evolves into just whatever Max G wants it to be. And eventually, it gets to the point where it's actually pretty deep and thought-provoking in some of the episodes about this guy's life and his takes on what it means to be an artist. And it just completely blindsided me. I think the reason it's up so high is just how far it comes as a piece of art, as a piece of media, from just a not very great YouTube movie review series into what I would consider an actual show worthy of being put on this tier list with all the rest of these shows. Especially, I think the House of Cards episode is my favorite episode of Brain Dump. I don't think you even really need to watch them in order. It's definitely better if you watch them in order like I did. But the House of Cards episode, go watch that one. You might have seen memes from it before, but it's great. unironically.
It's got a pretty, like, nice presentation. The characters are likable. It's a good time, especially for, like, a little indie project that started with beginnings, like, as humble as this one's had. I like it. Brain Dump's a good time.
Well, Space, what do you think of Brandy and Mr. Whiskers? See, I know that you are a certified Brandy and Mr. Whiskers enjoyer, right?
That's false information. I'm gonna get my lawyer involved. I do remember this show from back in the day, it being on Disney Channel, which was usually like my third choice after Nickelodeon, which was already after Cartoon Network. This is, I think, one of the Disney Channel shows ever made, and it is pretty much unexceptional in any way, aside from being like pretty gross and like weirdly horny. I don't have a lot of good things to say about Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, other than that it's wild it existed, and I wish I could forget that it did, but they actually brought this show back in Chibiverse, which is another pretty bad Disney Channel show we will be getting to later.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't crazy about it. It's just, it's a show that exists, and a lot of people remember that it does exist, but they probably couldn't tell you anything else about it, and I am not surprised that nobody voted for it to be in their picks for favorite cartoons ever made. Now we have Bravest Warriors. I am surprised that nobody voted for this one, because this was kind of a big deal. Like, this kind of launched the Frederator Network, like, YouTube animation company. And for what it's worth, I really enjoyed it. The first two seasons, I loved them, honestly. I loved the first two seasons, and I was excited, in between seasons 2 and 3, whenever they were gonna make more episodes of that. I was hyped for it around when season 2 was coming out. And I liked season 3 as well, especially the mall episode. I thought the mall episode was great, but the first 3 seasons, absolutely loved them. I loved all the characters, great stories, created by Pendleton Ward, who made Adventure Time. And then they made season 4. I have seen every episode of Bravest Warriors, including season 4. I bet a lot of people have never seen season 4, and oh boy. The first few seasons, they had, 12 episodes apiece in each season? And then in the fourth one, they had 52 episodes in season 4. This is because it was a noticeably cheaper animation and noticeably worse writing.
Yeah, the transition to Flash completely killed the show. Season 4 is downright unwatchable. And if you look it up on YouTube, has honestly shockingly pathetic view counts compared to the seasons before it. I don't think that many people saw season 4. And they weren't missing a lot. Season 4 is pretty terrible. But if we're going just off the first 3 seasons, they do have episodes in those that are some all-time classics. It makes me sad what happened to this show.
Yeah, the last episode of Bravest Warriors, they did make a finale to it with a proper conclusion, but at what cost? Because it only, as of right now, has 8.9 thousand views on YouTube. Only that many. It is sad to see how far it has fallen, for sure. Alright, next up is Breadwinners. It's pretty bad.
Now this is some bona fide Nick slop. I think shows like this and Sanjay and Craig are a pretty big reason why Nickelodeon was borderline unwatchable during the 2010s. It's just aggressive in its presentation. Aggressively, annoying. Imagine in your head, regular show, but if it had ADHD and never shut up. It's bad. None of the characters are likable. A lot of butt jokes throughout its entire runtime. It's fucking Breadwinners. If you know about this show, you should know how much it sucks. I'm not surprised nobody voted for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything good about it to keep it from going straight into the garbage tier. I guess some of the artists, tried. The background art looks nice. The animation is fluid, for what it's worth. Some people on the show made an effort, but it is hard to watch. Very obnoxious show. Next up is Bubble Guppies. And it's a preschool show. It's just a simple, cute preschool show. It's fine. It's not, nothing amazing, but I tend to go easy for preschool shows on this tier list. One thing I will say about it, I do like the music. They did a good job with some of the music on this show, but other than that, I don't have anything to say about it.
It's surprisingly adequate. I didn't throw up.
Now, Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars, I'm putting it in A tier, because I have mixed feelings about it for certain. This is a wild show. If you have anything to say about its face, I'll let you go first.
Now, this is a wild show, namely because it spawned, like, a lot of spin-off media. Namely, I think, a comic and, like, a weirdly good NES game, and even a fucking toy line, but nobody remembers this show, or any of its spin-off media. And if you say, oh, I remember this show in the comments, you are fucking one of a million.
I do think that older people do remember it. In fact, I am certain that there are 30 or 40-year-old people who do remember Bucky O'Hare because, in fact, the reason that I even added it onto this tier list, despite nobody voting for it, is because there was, like, somebody who made, like, a whole 30-minute, like, YouTube podcast episode about this show. I didn't watch it. I just saw that they made it on this show, and so I felt like I had to add it to see what the hype was about. And it certainly is crazy.
It's worth watching for yourself just to bear witness to Bucky O'Hare. I think in an alternate timeline, not too different from our own, this could have been the Ninja Turtles of the 80s. And I think that would be a very interesting timeline to look at. What a bizarre media franchise Bucky O'Hare is.
We haven't actually explained what it's about. It's a sci-fi space war between toads who are like the ultra-authoritarian space imperialists who have taken over the galaxy, and this band of rebels of varying creatures that make up the main cast are part of this like alliance that are trying to stop the toads from taking over the galaxy. But at some point they open up a rift into another dimension, and that dimension is our Earth, and they just suck up some random like 10-year-old kid, and he ends up being as a part of their space crew at the end of the first episode. This kid gets isekai'd into this Animal Crossing space war. Next is Buddy Thunderstruck. I didn't think it was very good. I like the stop motion. That's the first thing that I'll say about it. Stop motion is impressive, but the writing it's kind of just boring. It's about a truck driving dog puppet character. He's in a rivalry with another racer, but I don't have that much to say about it.
Yeah, the writing is pretty annoying, is the best way to describe it. I don't think any of the characters are likable. It's a slog to watch, and although it gets some bonus points for being stop motion, because, you know, that's laborious, and not a lot of shows choose to do that, it's I don't like the character designs. Everybody's ugly.
I was hoping more from it. It being a stop motion show that doesn't look too bad. Like, I don't think it looks too bad, but I was hoping more from it. Bunnicula, not very good. It's a show about this girl who gets a pet like rabbit that's a vampire, and she also has like a pet cat and a dog. The cat's like afraid of everything, and the dog's, you know, like a dim-witted character, and the rabbit's just kind of minding its own business, really. It's just like a stereotypical generic cartoon about pets that interact with each other and can talk. Bunny Maloney. This one is pretty bad. It is French. That's the first thing I can say about it. It is fast-paced, and it's not very cohesive. It's not great. Not a fun watch.
Not helped out by it being relentlessly horny, as is a common theme in a lot of French shows, and having a really terrible English dub, which is what we watched. It has a decent art style. Most French shows get that part right at least, but it's not a good watch. Bunsen
is a beast. Ooh boy, we have another garbage tier show. This show, the most notable thing about it is it was made by Butch Hartman. You know, the same creator as Danny Phantom and The Fairly Odd Parents. This is one of his shows, his most recent show to be broadcast on like an actual serious network. And man, every show he makes just gets worse and worse with each one that he does. Because this is just such a nothing show. It is ugly. It is not funny. It's annoying, obnoxious. There's not a single good thing about it. It's very cheap looking. All the character designs are really ugly and bad. I have absolutely nothing good to say about this.
Yeah, this show firmly deserves its spot in its place at the absolute bottom of this tier list. If there are no Butch Hartman haters left in the world, then that's how you will know that I am dead. This is some bona fide garbage content. It is amazing that this made it to air. It's bad. This is not a show that ran on a network so much as it was inflicted on the world. I would say that this is probably the worst thing he's done that has actually made it past the pilot stage.
At least it's not Uncle Duck.
I would sooner take Uncle Duck over Bunsen as a Beast.
You know, at least Uncle Duck is fun to, laugh at how bad it is. This one is just a pain to watch in any regard. It's not even so bad it's good. It's just so bad it's bad.
Fuck Butch Hartman, get him out of here. He doesn't belong in the industry. His time has passed, and we look on him with disdain.
Sad. Alright, now here's the final show that starts with the letter B and got 0 votes. So the final one for this episode, it's The Buzz on Maggie.
I remember this one. This is another one from mid to late 2000s Disney Channel. And I liked this one at the time, but it is wholly unremarkable. I think that the design of the main character is pretty good, but apart from that, I don't really have anything to say about it. It is just a cartoon that ran in the years that it ran.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said. Character designs are alright, voice acting's good, the episode plots themselves, they're kind of middle of the road. I wouldn't mind it. I don't mind the show existing. I have nothing against it. It is, nothing bad against it. It is above the neutral line. It is above neutral, in my opinion. Just, I probably wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. And there you have it. That's all the shows that start with the letter B that got 0 votes. Next, on the next episode, we'll have all of your favorite shows that nobody cares about that start with the letter C, like Chicago Party Ant. Not to get into spoilers or anything, though, but stay tuned. This is Brazil and Space, and I'll be seeing you next time